Well, good afternoon everybody and welcome to my channel. This is going to be my first whiskey review, and today I've decided to crack open a bottle of the new Kilkerran 8-year-old sherry cask matured, bottled at 58.1%. This was released only this week, I believe. I'm always a little bit late to the party with spring rank releases, to be honest. And I was just very lucky that a shop there just down the road from me had a spare bottle of this one. I didn't manage to get anything else. The new local barley, the longer red, which I've managed to get in previous years, no problem. All have eluded me except this one. But I'm always happy to try a new Kilkerran 8-year-old. It'll be interesting to see how different this is compared to their previous releases. So the last two releases of the Kilkerran 8-year-old sherry have been quite sulphured, or there has been some sulphur there. Not a problem for me at all. I like my dirty drams. I don't mind sulphur. So it'll be interesting to see what the new release gives us and whether it has those notes or not. These releases are just becoming harder and harder to get. I remember a few years back when Kilkerran released their first series of the 8-year-olds. I think they were bourbon cask matured, if I'm not mistaken. And it was so easy to get a bottle. I mean, I think I got 4 bottles of the original bourbon cask. These days, forget it. Those days are gone. You're lucky if you get anything, to be honest. You really need to develop a good friendship with a retailer, a local retailer, and even then, you know, it comes down to a bit of luck as well involved, because some of these places have ballots, etc. But in any case, I'm very happy to try this one. I'm very fortunate to try this one. So let's just go onto the nose first and see what the nose gives us. This has been resting for must be about 30 minutes now. Right, I'm getting prunes, plums, dried fruits. This one smells quite clean, to be honest, compared to the last two. The last two releases, at least. I'm not getting any sulphur on this one. Don't trust my words though, because I'm not that susceptible to sulphur, but I certainly don't get anything like what I got on the previous releases, or the last two. Very clean. Some barbecue meats there almost. A little bit of dirtiness there, a little bit. Slight industrial notes there. That's a really lovely nose. Right, onto the taste. Sorry, that took me a while to just take in all the flavour there. It's quite punchy at 58.1. I think the alcohol is quite well integrated. There's a little bit of heat there, but I wouldn't necessarily say this was 58.1% if I was tasting this blind. So I'm getting minerals, red fruits, dried fruits, a bit of chocolate, a bit of espresso. I mean, you can taste it is quite young, but I would say a bit older, in my opinion, to its 8 years old. I would have said this is a little bit older, to be honest, than 8 years. Finish is starting to go away, so a little bit short. There's a tiny smidgen of peat there. Very, very, very in the background. Very much in the background. More red fruits. Quite intense in the beginning. So, what do I think of this? Initially, I think it's really intense. There's definitely less peat, and I got a bit more peat influence on the previous releases, the last two. This is not particularly dirty. I would say this is more what you would call modern sherry, perhaps. I'm still getting the taste. There's still some of the industrial note coming through. See, that's what I really like with Springbank and Kilkerran, is the distillate. You know, it needs to be there in the background. I don't want it swamped with all that sherry goodness. I don't think this does. I think the sherry influence is obviously quite dominant, but I think there's enough of that Kilkerran character coming through. You just know this is a Campbelltown when you're tasting it. If you drink single malt whiskey regularly, you should be able to pick up the Campbelltown notes straight away. That's very interesting. How do I compare it to the last two releases? It's a different beast, you know. It's very difficult to grade these things. I mean, I prefer a dirtier Campbelltown whiskey. I don't mind the sulphur in that. This is very clean and modern, and it's good. I mean, I can't really complain about this. I mean, retail-wise, I picked this up for £50. I think if you can get this at the recommended retail price of £49.99 or 50 quid, you know, get two, you know. My worry is this will just go straight onto the secondary market, and you'll be paying ridiculous prices for an 8-year-old, in my opinion. What would it be? What would I pay most for? You know, how much would I be willing to go on this as a price? How much would I be willing to pay? I think maybe 60, 65 at the most. I think, to be absolutely honest. I mean, it is very, very good. But you know, I personally just think it's going to get swamped up by the secondary market, and it'll be on auction, and it'll be unfortunate to see it rise in value if it does. Obviously, it's not going to rise in value like the local barleys, etc., that you get from Springbank. But it's a shame, actually, because you know, I mean, there's a lot of new Springbank fans, and they want to taste the stuff, you know. So. Yeah, so I don't know if Springbank should release more of these, perhaps, or higher volume, but obviously I wouldn't want quality to be compromised, obviously, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. At the moment, it just feels like it's really down to luck, and also obviously your relationship with your retailer as to whether you get a bottle of this or not. And even if you are, you know, even if you are friends with the retailers, you're not guaranteed. I'll take one more sip of this. It does hit the spot. Sherry fans will fall in love with this. Non-sherry fans, or fans that prefer bourbon cask, I still think there's enough of the character of Kilkerran there to enjoy. Yeah, it's just very good. I mean, I would probably give this as a score, if I had to score it out of 10, I'd probably say a 7.5 to an 8. I think for £50, it's pretty much a bargain and highly enjoyable. But I would not suggest that you spend much more than what the recommended retail price is. I think there's a lot of good whiskey out there these days, and you can get good bottles for around this price all over the place. But yeah, do I prefer this to the other two releases? Well, we'll have to see how this one develops. Obviously, this is just the neck pour, so and beyond slightly, so I expect this to open up a lot more over the forthcoming months. You know, it's not really fair to judge a whiskey so much when you've just opened the bottle. So we'll see how this one develops. First impressions, though, I prefer the dirtier releases, to be honest. That's just me personally. But you guys, if you don't enjoy it, if you don't like sulfur, I suggest you pick this one up if you can get it at retail. Okay guys, I'm rambling on a wee bit here and this review's getting quite long, so I'm just going to end it here. So that's the new Kilkerran 8-year-old sherry cask mature bottled at 58.1%. Hope you enjoy the review. Like, comment and subscribe if you wish. Take care.